Mr. McFarland, anyone you'd like us to hear from?
Yes, I would like to have the worker who is with my client sworn in by my government. I don't know her name, it's not on the screen.
I heard Miss Chelsea, but I'm not sure I grabbed the last name.
My name is Chelsea Brannon.
How do you spell that, please?
Chelsea. Last name Brannon.
Thank you.
Please raise your right hand. You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. You can put your hand up. Okay, if I call you as a witness today, I presume that's why you're there?
Mm-hmm.
What is your position and what facility are you at?
So my position is the Youth and Family Service Coordinator. I am at the Flint Odyssey House Residential Program.
Did you hear the worker testify about email correspondence?
Yes.
Do you have any knowledge of that?
Yes, I do. Joanne Ingram is. Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Do you know what the responses were from your agency to those inquiries?
I had completed a letterhead and gave it to Brittany Lind. However, she did have her own response as well as the letter I gave her.
Do you know, apparently there's a question here regarding security and who's going to be monitoring the child and my client, Christina, on weekends. Can you address that? Are you capable of addressing that?
Yes, I am.
Go ahead,
We have 3 recovery coaches on the weekends, as well as a staff on duty that are currently at the facility every weekend. And then in the evenings, there was other questions as well, I believe.
Okay, so what's available evenings then?
In the evenings, we also have directors changing their schedule to be more available in the evenings. We have a staff on duty and minimally 1 recovery coach, if not 2, in the evenings.
And refresh my memory, I know this was given before, about how many residents, about how many staff are present during my client's visitation if she were secure there?
Well, currently we have roughly like 85 residents, and we have, oh goodness, I'm not exactly sure of how much staff, but I know there's over 40. I'm just not exactly sure of the total amount.
And evenings and weekends, is that number about the same of staff?
No.
Okay,
No, evenings and weekends are exactly what I just said a moment ago. A staff on duty along with roughly 4 recovery coaches, 3 to 4 recovery coaches on the weekends. And then in the evenings, there's 1 or 2 recovery coaches and a staff on duty.
So if Christina were to be able to have weekend parenting time, can you tell us what that would look like? Where she and the child would be and where the monitors would be? Can you, because we don't have the benefit of that email correspondence, can you explain to us what that would look like?
Yes. So we also do have medical staff here 24/7. So if there was any type of issue, she is able to take her child to be cared for also. But for the weekends, we have a sunshine room, and we have people dedicated to that area to help set up family activities. I supervise them to set up family activities and structured family events. So she would be able to have breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks with her child. On the weekend, there's usually 1 to 2 groups. So she would be able to go to that group as well as she could get support with the child. If not, then she's been here long enough that she does not have to go to every single group. So she would be able to spend that time with her daughter as well. And staff is on the floor all of the time. We do have a program here where it's set up in levels. So we have CI level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. And About half of our level 4s are interns as well at this point because they've been here long enough to gain trust, responsibility. They have a long-term recovery, and so their supports as well with the families.
Apparently this child needs to be fed about every 2 hours. Is that something that could be accomplished that my client would be able to do at that facility?
Absolutely. So we also have a youth services department. So in the youth services department, oversee individuals who make sure that she has all necessary food, equipment. She would have pack and play, bottles, bottle brushes, diaper bag, all needs, diapers, wipes provided to her. As well as we utilize outside resources too. So if it was necessary for her to go to get extra resources, we would help her in doing that. But we provide those.
Thank you. You jumped ahead on that for me. I appreciate that. My next question is, what would the sleeping arrangements look like at night for the security of the child?
Her child would be in a pack and play in her bedroom with her. And then we have something called a baby check for safe sleep. So they do baby checks twice a night. Usually it's around 12 o'clock and 4 o'clock, where they just knock on the door. There's insured to make sure the baby is safely in the bed. If not, we address that with mom and make sure the child is moved to the safe location. There's nothing in the bed as well.
Mom's in her own room then with the child, is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Okay. And of course, a question that may arise should be, if mom is not participating, or if mom, let's say, just tries to take off, would you prevent the child from leaving and call authorities immediately?
So I guess it really depends on what this court determines the parents' legalities to be. So if the child is placed in the care of Odyssey and mom, then of course we would have to report that to CPS, as well as to make sure the child remains at Odyssey in a safe place. If this court decides that that is not necessary, then we would contact the CPS worker. So it's really determined based on what this court chooses.
So you would follow any order of this court is what I'm hearing, correct?
Absolutely.
If this court were to allow this, how soon could parenting time begin?
Are you referring to weekend parenting time?
Yes.
Overnight?
Weekend parenting time and overnights.
We could absolutely make that work as soon as possible. I will say, unfortunately, today is one of those days where we've got a lot of people out on vacation. So it may be a little bit more complicated to work out, but I'm sure that I could get with the recovery coach to navigate getting a meeting, possibly Chelsea, to pick her up if needed.
Okay, I'm just going to interrupt because I appreciate the exploration on these points, Mr. McFarland, but I think that there would be a much better way to do this, which would be to ask Ms. Chelsea to go ahead and be part of a family team meeting with the caseworker and your client to organize a parenting time schedule that would be safe, that would ensure for safe transportation. So I think that
no objection, Your Honor, although I kind of thought that this had been explored before this time, because this was an issue that was brought up in court last time. That's why I've been spending some time on this, especially since. If I can just ask this worker then one other question then.
sure.
Sounds as though the direction of court is going to be a family team meeting where all the participating parties get together and discuss these questions. Would you be able to also participate and supply answers as you're doing now to a family team meeting?
Absolutely.
Thank you. I have no further questions then.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Moore, when do you get back from vacation?
I will be back on Monday.
All right, so if I asked you to set up that family team meeting, and not necessarily to conduct it, but at least set it up within the next 14 days of your return, would that be something that you could accomplish?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
I do have one more question from this worker.
Which one? Ms. Brannon or Ms. Moore?
Ms. Brandon, when we were in court last time, there was some concern that my client should focus on recovery before parenting time. The only question I have for you right now is, do you believe it's appropriate right now for her to have parenting time at your facility?
Yes, I do believe it's appropriate for her to have parenting time. She's been very engaged in treatment, and I believe that it would be a benefit to her continued sobriety and her family.
Thanks. I wanted to make sure that we could proceed with this family team meeting with that position. Nothing further.
And I would note for the record, the last order does indicate that parenting time should have been subject to the rules and regulations of the Odyssey House, as long as the same was supervised. So I, again, appreciate your questions, but I think that they need to sit down and really explore with it.
Sure.
Okay, any questions of this witness from any other attorneys?
No, Your Honor. No, Your Honor, I just want to clarify that it sounds like we're not changing the child's placement at this time then.
I mean, I haven't made a ruling on that.
I'll just ask a couple of questions then. What would prevent, if the child were to have parenting time with mom at the facility on a weekend or overnight, what would prevent, with only a few workers on staff, what would prevent her from walking out with the child?
So we have cameras as well in all areas. We have someone that sits at the desk to monitor the cameras. And we are very diligent about making sure that we're aware of where people are at all times. We do something called a census. So every hour they're going through and seeing where everyone is at. So it's usually, I can't speak to, always, but usually it is brought to the light of staff if there's any concern going on in the house, as well as them being on the floor and being able to, intervene before the person is able to leave the facility.
But is it true there are approximately 85 residents on 6 floors? Is that accurate?
Yes. So the 4th floor is all medical staff offices. There's not a floor with residents on that one. The 6th floor is detox. The 5th is all men and men with children. The 2nd and 3rd is women and women with children. And then the 1st floor is our main floor where our meetings, groups, dining hall, all of that take place.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Are your participants that are in the program free to leave at any time?
I guess I'm going to object for the same reason that there is going to be a family team meeting to discuss all of these issues, as the court noted.
So is your client taking her request for placement off the table for the rest of today's hearing then?
No.
I'm sure she's not, Your Honor.
Okay, so I'm going to allow it just based on that issue being outstanding.
Well, then now where my question's not relevant, she's not taking them off.
Your questions were entirely surrounding visitation. I mean, some of it was safety as well. I hear you on that piece. I will say one of the reasons that I had denied placement initially was because I wanted to see your client's commitment to sobriety, given that much of her parenting was affected by her substance use. And so one of the questions that I will be looking for an answer to, Ms. Brandon, is whether or not Ms. Lemmy has had any relapses, any breaches in security, any violations of the rules, and whether or not she has made it through the first phase of the program.
So no, she has not had any issues. She has not violated any safety guidelines, left the facility inappropriately. She's actually been promoted and sponsored to a community member. She's leveled up in our facility. So she's on the right page and she's very focused.
Is she through her first phase?
Yes.
And how long is the second phase anticipated to last, and what is the focus of that phase?
So the second phase is to focus on responsibilities of things, your environment, building responsibility, being able to communicate effectively and address concerns without irrational decision making, writing it out, addressing it in a safe environment, structured. And at that phase as well, It honestly, it depends. Every person's different. I mean, it's roughly 30 to 45 days, but at the same time, it depends on each individual's progress in this process of recovery as to how long it will take.
Do you have any information, like a programming pamphlet or anything that you could pass along to us to help us understand what the goals are of the program and the different? Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Underwood, thank you for allowing me to interrupt. Mr. McFarland, we'll make sure we come back to you to allow you to ask any other questions.
Thank you.
I guess my last question was, are your participants free to leave at any time if they choose to stop the program?
Okay, so this is a twofold answer. The doors are not locked on the inside. That is accurate. It is not jail. So yes, they can leave if they choose to leave. However, if the child is placed with mom and it is this court's decision that she needs to remain here, if she chooses to leave and it hasn't already gone through this court and been approved and she just leaves, then the child would have to remain here. We would not allow her to leave. Police and CPS would be contacted. But in regards to whether or not the door is accessible for them to leave, yes, it is, but no, they don't get to leave anytime they want to unless they're discharging from the program.
Okay. And someone had indicated before that there is a proposed release date for Ms. Lumley. Do you know what that is?
I'm sorry, I could not hear what you said.
Is there a proposed release date for Ms. Lumley at this time?
No. She came in with a commitment of, I believe, 30 to 90 days. So that was based on trying to follow this court order. And she spoke with her counselor and she's willing to continue to address her substance use disorder as well as, increasing her bond with her child. She hasn't had a specific date, however, to which she is going to discharge.
Have there been any visits set up with her other children?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, please?
Has Ms. Lumley had any visitations set up with her other children?
No, ma'am.
No further questions. Thank you.
All right, so, Mr. McFarland?
As far as parenting time, would you be able to support transporting my client to visit her child more than just once a week?
We are working very hard to try to navigate this. I know for certain we can do once a week. I'm trying to make it to where we can do twice a week. I think it comes down to the time frame and the days to make sure that it can happen.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Mr. Brooks?
I have no questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Thomas?
I have no questions. Thank you, Your Honor.
Any other witnesses, Mr. McFarland?
I'm going to call my client, Your Honor.
Very well. I think she has been sworn.
Yes.
Ms. Christina Lumley?
Christina, how would you say you are going at the program right now?
I would say, my first week was a little bit rough. It was a lot of overwhelming, but kind of at that, roughly end of first week, beginning of second week mark, I had one of those kind of aha light bulb moments, where, I was honestly able to admit to myself and those around me that, I had an issue and needed help with it. So I have been doing, extra counseling sessions with my counselor. I have been attending every group humanly possible in the program. There have been a couple of new groups that have started since I have been here that I also voluntarily have signed up for. Some of those being women's group, seeking safety, anger management, recovery maintenance, relapse prevention, parenting group, trauma skills, smoking cessation. I actually have reduced my cigarette use down to 4 cigarettes a day. DBT, which is dialectic behavioral therapy. I have been working on volunteering in the kitchen on top of that to do like team building type activities and work. I guess you can call it a workshop, not really workshop, but running the lunch crew. I went from just a lunch crew member to the leader of the lunch crew. Groups with our enhanced parenting program. I have been looking into with my counselor also the availability back towards, family and things for recovery and transitional housing to be able to go to. I've been looking actually into going back into school again when I get out, things like that. We've been just, trying to look into some of those possibilities just in a little bit. Like Miss Chelsea said, I've promoted in the group from a boarder to a CI. I then became sponsored. I now have leveled up to a 1. I'm in the running to receive my P, which is the next like half step up into a level 2, which in all possibilities could be by this following week. I could get that half step. My counselor and I have been in the conversation of the possibility of continuing the multiple sessions a week instead of just the 1. Even though I'm past the first phase of the program and no longer required the same amount of hours as somebody in the first phase, I am still putting the effort in to do more than what is required of the second phase per week.
Oops, you froze there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Where was the last thing?
You just froze there. How you're putting in more time per week than you are required to do. Let me ask you about your position on parenting time. Can
I'm
you
sorry?
hear me okay? Can you hear me okay?
There's better.
Christina, can you hear me okay?
Yes, there it's better.
Okay. What is your position? Would you like to have more parenting time, even if it means your child would have to meet with you halfway more than once a week? Is that something you would want?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So if your facility could arrange for that, you would want to exercise that more rather than just one visit per week. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
And would you be willing within 14 days, as it sounds like the court's going to order, attending a meeting in which everybody's going to discuss moving forward towards the possibility of your child living with you up there? Are you agreeable to attending this meeting to explore that, and your worker is going to be with you also? Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Is there anything else you think we need to address today that we haven't addressed?
I don't believe so.
Thank you. We'll see if anybody else has questions for you.
Any other questions?
I have no questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Did you have any questions?
I do, I have one. Are you and the child's father still, do you consider yourselves together as a couple?
I've not had the opportunity to speak with him on that at all. I would like to think that, through the services, and they also offer services and counseling and things like that through this program, that, we can discuss a further, co-parenting relationship, and, in brightening our futures as individuals so that we can be the best parents that we can be for our children. And then moving, past that when we get to the point that that's, a working possibility.
I guess you answered it. Thank you, that's all.
Any other witnesses, Mr. McFarland?
No, thank you.
Mr. Brooks?
No, you don't have it. No.
Ms. Thomas had a question.
No, I have no questions.
Okay.
Witnesses, Ms. Underwood? No witnesses. Comments in closing for purposes of the disposition request for placement and issues on parenting time.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, the disposition request is simply for the Ms. Lumley to be entered into the case service plan with the focus on maintaining that long-term sobriety, which it sounds like she's off to a very good start. It has just been 1 month since we've had the initial preliminary hearing, and then she has been in treatment. It's understanding that the treatment was in lieu of incarceration. And so with that, we are just asking the court to consider the newness of the sobriety, the efforts that are being made to create more sustainable parenting time schedule as well. We're currently not in support of placing the child with mom at this time. But again, I agree with this court that a family team meeting would be most appropriate to discuss those concerns and develop a plan that would look like something we traditionally do with an increase in parenting time in a transition period. I think that there are just a lot of questions about when mom may be done with Odyssey House and what happens next. Is transitional housing going to be the next step, or is there something else that can happen? And that's not to say we don't believe mom or that she's not committed. I think there's just a lot of questions around that. And given the conditions that cause a child to come into care, I think that we would need to do our due diligence and explore that a little more. I do think that now, I know that it's sort of been a little frustrating for Ms. Moore. I've received emails from her and her supervisor about not having good contact with the Odyssey House, and I'm grateful to hear that there is now at least a point of contact there, and that they can continue to develop that relationship and have more open communication. I think it would be very beneficial for Ms. Lumley if all of the groups that she were doing, if there were any treatment notes or contact notes that could be provided to Ms. Moore so that she can include those in her court reports and give that progress to this court at our next hearing. But with that, we are just asking for a standard 90-day review and mom to be ordered into her case service plan, which we understand she's doing a very good job of already getting a jump start on. Thank you.
Mr. McFarland.
Well, the Odyssey House can support more than one visit per week, Your Honor. I don't see the realistic barriers of a worker not being able to pull into McDonald's, public rest area where they are monitored through the state of Michigan, and feed the child if necessary. I just don't see that as being a realistic barrier to that. So even if the court is not discussing today placement with my client, is asking for an FTM, family team meeting, I think more than once a week that can be supported, that should occur, Your Honor. I know the court had concerns last time that my client was going to be focusing on her treatment and get that in order before there is increased parenting time and before the issue of placement is addressed. And I think we adequately heard from both my client, who appears to be going above and beyond, and the supervisor who testified today, her progress. Transitional housing is going to be way down the road, Your Honor, as we hear. It sounds as though more time than I think it'd be more of a delay just to wait for transitional housing than to increase parenting time. Parenting time is not based upon a reward basis, but it's a constitutional right. And even if it is based upon the reward, which it's not, my client, I think, has earned the respect from the court by what she's doing. So we would ask for increased parenting time. And I'd like an accelerated review, Your Honor, just because it's a family team meeting, does not produce, I think would be parenting time. We'd like it addressed sooner rather than later than 90 days, because I don't think that's acceptable. Thank you.
Any comments, Mr. Brooks, for purposes of the mother's initial disposition?
None at all.
Ms. Underwood.
Yes, Your Honor, I agree with the department that the child's best interest would be served at this time remaining in her placement. She is familiar with and comfortable with the family. The child is also able to visit with her other biological siblings that are under guardianship through another relative. I'm not opposed to the additional parenting visits if Odyssey House is able to accommodate those. However, I believe that the foster care worker does have valid concerns, and I understand those concerns with respect to needing to stop to provide the child with a bottle or something on the way there. So I don't think it's unreasonable to facilitate a halfway point. And it showed that the foster care worker has shown that she's made several efforts to communicate with and coordinate things with Odyssey House. So I think she has done a good job of attempting that. Again, there have also been FaceTimes offered, but Ms. Lumley has declined those. So again, there are other opportunities for her to make contact with her child, and I think those should be encouraged. But at this time, I do think that the best interests of the child are served in her current placement, and that should continue until further concerns and options can be explored. Thank you.
Thank you. The court finds all interested parties were given notice for purposes of today's initial disposition as it relates to Christina Lemley. I have reviewed the case services plan as she has, and although I don't have her signed copy, I'm confident that this is the same copy that she's got, that she's had a chance to review. As it relates to the child's placement, it is the safest and least restrictive under the circumstances. Ms. Lemley is tasked with many things to overcome as she works her way towards reunification. One of them, of course, is her sobriety. That is paramount. And once that's accomplished, she still has to look at housing, employment, parenting education, domestic violence education. Many, many things remain for her to understand and become in the rhythm of, frankly, providing for herself so that we can understand that she'll be able to provide those things for her child. She's currently at the rehabilitation facility working hard, and I want to acknowledge that for her. We're not sure how long she's going to be there, somewhere between 30 and 90 days. She's considering transitional housing, which is a great step forward. Nevertheless, that does not provide the stability, safety, and security that this child needs at this time. She's still needing to be fed at different intervals, as the caseworker articulated, and Ms. Lemley has a lot to show us that she can provide that safe and stable environment for her child. We also wish her the best of luck in accomplishing rehabilitation services so that she can avoid any jail time associated with the violation of probation, for which she's also at rehabilitation for, instead of being incarcerated currently. I will order Ms. Moore to organize that family team meeting within the next 14 days as it relates to visitation. And I appreciate her appearing while she's on vacation. Thank you, Ms. Moore. And we hope you have a nice time from here on out. We appreciate your time and your efforts. They certainly constitute reasonable efforts towards the goal of reunification. And we look forward to your efforts in the next review period as well. Ms. Underwood is also in satisfaction of her obligations. Thank you. And her comments are in alignment and supportive of this court's ruling today as well. We'll have our next review for Ms. Lemley in October. We have available.
Your Honor.
I'm sorry, did you have a question?
Yes, we did. I'm sorry. I was trying to get back on Zoom because it froze and we lost connection for a good 3 minutes. So we did miss some of what was said, but a question we had was, is there any consideration for possible longer weekend visits?
Okay, so you're welcome to view this hearing on YouTube. After the conclusion of the case hearing, it will be available to you, and to take up any other questions you have with Ms. Moore when she gets back.
Okay.
Our next review will be October 22nd at 10 o'clock in the morning. Unless there's any questions, that's all as it relates to Ms. Christina Lemley. Thank you. We need a few minutes before we head into the bench trial, Mr. Brooks, or are you ready to proceed?
I'm ready to proceed, Your Honor.
Ms. Thomas, Mr. McFarland, are you staying?
Well, may I be excused, Your Honor, since it doesn't pertain to my client?
Any objections?
Your Honor, I would intend to call his client as a witness.
Well, then I'll stick around.
Thank you. Do we need a break, counselors, before we get started?
It was just like a humanitarian break, yes.
Very good. We'll have